Yeah, I really don't have good luck with deliveries. I mean, it was tossed like it was nothing. This this was my Meanwell power supply that was just, and you heard the thud, and my dog Bear just started barking. Actually, I was in the house, and that actually woke him up. He actually heard it from inside the house. So, well, needless to say, after I got that delivery, I posted it. Since I have a Ring doorbell, I don't understand why, these delivery people just are not conscious enough to realize that people have cameras now in front of their house recording their every move. I posted this delivery on my social media, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and I tagged Amazon in it. And within 5 minutes, they responded to my Twitter, asking for my account number and to fill something out for them. Wow. I you know what? I just wish more companies were as responsive, Creality, to stuff like this, right? So, anyways, my lovely little Ender 5 Plus has been unplugged for about 3 days now, waiting on parts. So, as you saw, the Meanwell definitely was delivered. Air. It was delivered by air. So, and also I have I decided to get some print connectors that I'm hoping to solder. I just don't know if it's the correct size or not. So I'm going to prepare my workbench area for it just in case, and you'll actually get to see what's actually in a couple of these drawers. No, they're not just there for show. They're actually, every drawer has some type of tools or tools in it. There might be one or two junk drawers, but it's some projects actually that I haven't gotten around to yet. And actually, I may not. It's one's like a shift kit for my daughter's ATV, converting it from manual to a push button up and down. So, anyways, that's another topic. So, but it's been unplugged for a number of days now, and we'll dive right into that power supply, see if we can actually just physically see what's wrong with it. Again, I don't have a huge electronics background, but I definitely love taking things apart and putting them back together. But that power supply, I won't put back together. And believe it or not, I'm going to take apart that Meanwell as well. I want you to see the difference between a quality power supply and one that's bad. I mean, just totally garbage. I have a firm belief that power supply that's in this machine is just garbage. And I want to prove to everyone that you shouldn't be ordering machines like this without a decent power supply. So let's go ahead and tear this thing open. I'm actually going to just remove the two bolts in the front and the back of the control unit and disconnect the wiring. I am not going to tilt this on its side, which I see so many people doing. I'm not a fan of trying to, this is actually printing very well when it did print. I don't want anything to be twisted or anything. I want it to just stay the way it is. So I'm going to just take some cloths and shove them underneath, and just to help it prevent it from dropping as I take these out. But yeah, I say let's get going. Let's get this thing moved out and disassembled. Almost like I feel like it's no disassemble number 5 if you ever watched Short Circuit. So, all right, let's get going.
right, we'll see if I am able to solder those on. So let's open up these drawers here. This first drawer is basically all my electronics for soldering and crimping. You got miscellaneous crimping tools, soldering iron, Radio Shack, believe it or not, and network testing equipment. And then the second drawer here is mostly welding with some more miscellaneous soldering stuff. All right, so now let's show you the solder station setup I have here. I have my Radio Shack soldering iron with Radio Shack solder. I have the Allen wrenches to take apart the control box. I have some tweezers, the helping hands, the static mat, and thermal paste, more tweezers. They're in the brown box, the Meanwell power supply, heat gun for the shrink tubing, and like I said, I don't know if these are going to fit. Those are the connectors I want to use, and a multimeter. All right, let's start taking that control box apart. I think it's always a good idea to take a picture of something before you take it apart. Here I'm just taking a picture of the wires before I start disconnecting the whole power supply. I'm actually going to also label these with some painter's tape, marking each one in the order for which input they are going on. And here comes the disclaimer. Yes, everyone should have one when it comes to these videos. I am only taking apart a power supply and putting a new power supply in. This is not an instructional video on how to do it. This is the steps I'm taking to do it for mine. So this is a do it at your own risk if you're following along. So just throw that out there. Alright, just wanted to get an overall feel between the Meanwell power supply and the one that came with the Ender 5. Definitely a little bit longer, a little bit more shallow. The mounting holes or the screws are definitely going to be an issue. I'm going to have to drill some new holes in here to mount it. The fans, the one that came with it is on the top. The Meanwell is in the back. But overall, the Meanwell just definitely feels a little bit more sturdy and it has a lot more weight to it. So without further ado, let's start taking apart this highly precision instrument that came with our Ender 5 Plus. I just wanted to throw this out there. I did test the continuity for the grounding screws with my multimeter, and they actually were grounded correctly for all the screws. So just wanted to throw that out there. I did lose like the video, or I didn't hit record. So just wanted to make everyone aware I did test that. Alright, as I'm taking this apart, you'll see that I have a couple of burnout thermistors here. Yeah, they definitely smelled of smoke when I took this apart, and that's the reason why. I mean, the bottom of this thing is just, wow, I've never seen anything built like this. There's no copper for the traces. And look at this. You have ventilation, but it's covered with the plastic. What gives with that? You turn it over here, and there's practically a short here on the board. Well, whatever. Anyways, let's start taking apart the Meanwell. Let's look at something that's quality here. I'm tired of this garbage. Also, I have some extra thermal paste because when you take this apart, you are going to lose some. I just want to make sure that I replace any that may rub off. It doesn't take much. People tend to cake this stuff on. You're just filling the imperfections of the two metals as they meet. So, all right, let's start ripping it apart. Well, gently. As you can see, there is a lot more components in this Meanwell. You pull this other one up, you're like, wow, what is this thing missing? It's just comical, honestly. You look at the difference. Why would anyone go with the stock power supply? Why would it even be offered? I don't get it. I'm just staring at it, and it's just beautiful. This is the way electronics should be. I'm at a loss for words right now. Let's just continue on. Alright, I really don't know how much more convincing you need. Look at the bottom of these two boards. I mean, really. Why does one have like hundreds of components and the other one has nothing on the bottom? I mean, it's just all traces, right? So let me get a close-up picture of this so you can actually see this. Alright, as I'm applying this thermal paste again, I'm only looking to see where some might have rubbed off. You're basically just creating a thin membrane between the two surfaces. That's it. That's all you're doing. You don't need to cake this stuff on. Now, there's no identifiers on the cheap Chinese power supply that came with the Ender 5 Plus, so I'm just verifying that it has the same amount of leads coming out. Alright, now let's see if I can get these crimp connectors on, because I want to solder them, but it looks like none of these will fit, so it looks like it'll be a task for another day. Maybe when I get a silent board or smoothers, I'll go ahead and tackle this. So unfortunately, no soldering for this video, but I promise I will go ahead and show you some of my skills with this at a later date. Alright, now it's just a matter of attaching all the wires. I labeled them all, and so just put them back in the order that you took them out. Again, disclaimer, this is just me putting it together. And if you're following along, I am not accountable for anything. As I mentioned earlier, the mounting holes are further apart, so you'll need to make some case modifications here. I've already pre-measured where these holes are going to need to be. I put a end stop on my drill bit so I don't go too far in, because actually I should have done this before I put the power supply on, but I wasn't really thinking, so at least this is a good enough solution. I really don't feel like gouging something on accident. And once I'm done with this, I actually took a little vacuum, and just made sure I vacuumed out any of the metal shavings, because you definitely don't want those floating around either. Alright, we're now in the home stretch. We're going to put the 4 bolts back in, rewire everything, and push the cart back where it belongs.
All right, it's back to its rightful place in the garage. We installed the power supply. As you can see, the other one's just garbage. You know, there's definitely a difference between a quality power supply with Meanwell and the generic ones that I would say that 70+% of all these printers are receiving, right? I would think it's best for the manufacturers to offer a quality power supply, like I said, in their checkout. So I know that I got some nice little dislikes on my video. You know what? That's fine. I really don't care, because now we'll see if replacing the power supply actually did something. As we saw, it did catch on fire inside. You know, there's plastic in there. All it takes, you know, people will have it on wood underneath, or maybe a piece of paper next to it. A lot of times it's very cluttered by these things. You never know. So does it work or not? Let's give it a try. Well, we got power. All right, let's take a look. Well, as you can see, it definitely got a lot further than it did the last time. And now it's actually up to temperature. You know, I am taking a risk taking apart the Meanwell. I probably did void the warranty for that, but I did put a little bit of that thermal paste, as you see. It's not as necessary. There's enough on there, but I just wanted to make sure that anything that could have, gotten rubbed off, it's only to fill in the imperfections between the two metals. So I think there was enough on there, but I just wanted to be sure. So I put it all back together. Apparently it was put back together right. It wasn't that difficult. But as you can see, the two differences between a garbage power supply and a good power supply. The old power supply didn't have anything it looked like it was bare bones. And the underside had no copper. It was all solder, everything. All the traces were solder. I mean, it looked like it was just hacked together. No way that I would want that in my house, or a place of business, or any school. Oh my God, think about it, a school, right? There's schools that have these type of printers in it for education with those power supplies. No, I'm sorry. I would not recommend that at all. So, I just can't wait to get back to printing. So, I totally appreciate everyone taking this journey with me. I hope that you enjoyed the video and learned something as I have. So, if you could please like the video, subscribe, and share. And I know that I'll be sharing this on my social media feeds, as well as definitely with Creality. I did interrupt one of their little how-to videos on YouTube with the power supply. They asked for my order number. We'll see what comes of it. You know, it's definitely an issue. And we'll catch you the next time. Thank you for watching.